Hello traders and Market Club members everywhere. Adam Hewison here, coming to you from the digital studios of Market Club. Well, it's the 31st of July, the end of the week, the end of the month, and it has been quite a week and quite a month. We'll be looking at three stocks we looked at earlier this week and to see where they are now from where they were when we first talked about them. First stock is USG. We talked about the stock on Monday. It was trading at $29.16, currently trading at $30.99, so that's a nice little profit in that position in just a few days, less than 5 days. And what's important now is to see where this is closing on the week and on the month. So if we go to a weekly chart, quite easily right here, you can see this is a great weekly close, and we're of course above the 50 line on the weekly. And if we go to the monthly, it's even better. This is the highest monthly close we've seen in quite some time in the stock. Now I just did a very simple line chart. Of course, you can do a candlestick chart like that, which shows you a very strong up move for this month. This is all predicated on using our trade triangles. So let's just go back to the daily. Let's look at our next stock that we looked at in this HollyFrontier. As you can see, HollyFrontier has also done very well. And we'll go to a weekly chart. There's the weekly close, and just do a close only. I want to stay on the close only to keep it very simple. So you can see it's a nice close there. That's on the weekly. And if we look on the monthly, of course, it's a really nice monthly close. Now that's HFC, that's HollyFrontier, and we first purchased that at $45.28. That was on Monday when we showed you the chart. It's trading at $48.21, so it's a nice little profit there in just a few days. Next stock is Activision Blizzard, symbol's ATVI. Now this is a new all-time monthly high close for this stock, and it looks really, really good to us. It's the least performing out of the three stocks that actually happens. It's the least best performer, but nonetheless, it's a very good monthly close. As you can see here, looks excellent. Looks like it just wants to continue moving higher. Okay, they're the three stocks we mentioned earlier this week on Monday, and they've all done very well in the plus column. What has been a very interesting choppy week in the market. But let's look at the indices right now, starting with the Dow. This is a monthly chart of the Dow, and I'm just going to show you on a line chart because it looks much clearer to me on a line chart. It really isn't going anywhere to speak of, and if anything, it's sort of rounding or going like this: lower lows and lower highs. So this is where we're closing for the month, unless it's a spectacular ending to the day, which I don't think will happen. But the weakest index is the Dow Jones 30. So let's move on. This is the S&P 500. As you can see, this continues to move higher. It's just a very, very nice sort of trending type market. You see it quite clearly like that. And we've got, again, higher highs. This is a monthly chart, by the way, higher highs here. And this, depending where we close today, if we just take this off for a moment, previous highest close was 2,107. We're at 2,110. So this would be a new high close for the month and for the year, and of course for the life of this contract, the life of this index. So let's see how we close today, but certainly it's a positive. Now the NASDAQ is quite clearly moving higher. You can see everything we've talked about. We've seen every low seems to get higher, like here and here. Higher highs, and this is going to be a new high close for this month and this quarter and this year and for a long, long time in this index. So again, the trend is clearly up. We're clearly over the 50 line, and it looks like it wants to stay strong. So looking at the weeklies, looking at the monthlies, it gives you a sense of a simpler picture of what's going on in the marketplace. Now this is a weekly chart of gold. It doesn't have to be a rocket scientist to tell you that the trend is clearly down. That becomes even more pronounced when you look at this on a monthly basis, just simply eroding, eroding, eroding. How low can it go? Well, certainly I think $1,000 is, we've talked about this before, is in the cards. That's going to be a big number for the market to crack, at least initially, but clearly the trend is your friend, and the trend in gold is clearly down. If we look at a daily picture, you can see it isn't really much better on a daily picture either. So it just looks just dismal. If you looked at a measurement on this, you could clearly see that if we measure from, let's say, we'll just do it very simply from this level here, 1150 rather, and the high here, 1300, that's, what is that, 150 points. I would say you can probably take 150 points from here, and that takes you down to your target zone for gold. I think that is a major target zone. Let's move on. Now, this is a monthly chart of the euro, which is interesting here because you've really just flattened out. You've sort of gotten into this situation where you can see it's sort of what would be considered a triangle. You've sort of got this, well, they call these wedges as well. So it's just sort of coming. Usually that's not a good sign. It's normally you get a continuation triangle and a continuation back down. It's still too early to tell here what that is. I would rely on our trade triangles, of course, to tell us what is going on. And if we go to our trade triangles, you can see that all of our trade triangles are indicating the opportunity is probably going to be on the downside in this particular currency. This is crude oil, of course. Again, this is a similar pattern. If you look at the last one we talked about in terms of the patterns, you had the big down and then you had the sort of sideways pattern. So here's the big down right here, then the sort of sideways pattern, then eventually a breakout here and a continuation to the downside. That's normally what happens in terms of, and I think that's what's going to happen to gold. Very similar, sideways pattern, boom, another big push down. So let's see how that plays out. Let's take a quick look, if we have a few minutes here, at the markets that are making new highs and new lows. And to do that, we go to our Smart Scan technology. Here we are, we have 222 new highs, 52-week highs, and we have 197 new lows. So that's interesting. It's the first time we've seen the highs beat the lows in terms of numbers. So we can click on here, and that's going to put all the stocks down here, but that's way too many. So we want to look at equity, view as bar charts, the last price. We want to put that, let's say that's greater than $20. That'll get rid of a lot of penny stocks that we don't want to trade. And also we want to see the average volume of 2 million. And again, we're going to just eliminate this just to US exchanges, no Canadian exchanges, no Australian exchanges. Click there and say scan. Now this is going to filter all this 222 down to a more reasonable number. 24, that's a lot better. I think you'll agree, from 222 to 24, that's a huge number. So these are like the top 10%. Expedia, nice breakout for the weekend. Also Coca-Cola Enterprises, nice move in Coca-Cola today. These are markets you want to probably get long for the weekend. I know it sounds crazy buying something at its high, but usually these stocks persist over the weekend. Caribbean Cruises looks good. Wisdom Tree Investments. These are all looking very, very good. Amgen, Mobile US. These are all stocks that I think look very, very good for the weekend. Carnival, Pfizer, Dr. Horton. Yep, these are all good. So what you want to do, you know the rules. 52-week rules. If a market's making a new high and closing at or close to its highs for the day on Friday, go home long. Take profits on the opening on Tuesday. Hey, I'm Adam Hewison. It's been a little longer than normal. Thank you so much. Have a great trading day and an even better weekend. I'll see you on Monday.